Hello, readers from the end of the world. Welcome to Wonders of Books, the channel where books are not only read, they are lived. Today, we are going to enter an apocalyptic scenario. The world has collapsed, everything is in ruins, but you have a mission: to rescue the 12 most valuable books for humanity. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the little bell so that you don't miss any literary jewel. And now, get ready! Because if the apocalypse comes, these books cannot be left behind. 1984. George Orwell. In a devastated world, we need to remember what happens when power becomes absolute. 1984 is a warning that we must rescue. Orwell presents us with an oppressed society where the government controls everything. Thoughts, words, even the truth. Sound familiar? This book warns us about the manipulation of information and the loss of individual freedom. In an apocalypse, where the rules can be reset, this book would be a moral compass not to repeat past mistakes. It is not just fiction, it is an urgent lesson. 2. Fahrenheit 451, Ray Bradbury. What happens when books burn and critical thinking disappears? In Fahrenheit 451, Bradbury places us in a future where reading is forbidden. Firemen don't put out fires, they set them to destroy books. This book is essential in an apocalypse because it reminds us why reading is an act of resistance. It is a call to preserve culture, art, and free thought. In a world where everything is in ruins, ideas are seeds to rebuild. 3. The Bible, or sacred text of your choice. Beyond religion, the Bible contains ancient wisdom, stories that have guided millions, and fundamental ethical principles. In a collapsing world, this book can be a spiritual refuge, moral guide, and source of hope. Whatever your faith, it is a text that has shaped entire civilizations. To rescue it is to save centuries of culture, mythology, philosophy, and humanity. 4. The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. In the midst of chaos, The Little Prince reminds us of the importance of what is essential: love, friendship, imagination. Its simple language hides profound truths. This book has the magic to speak to both children and adults, and in an apocalypse, that duality is pure gold. In times of despair, it helps us to see with our hearts and not our eyes. Its poetry, philosophy, and tenderness in barely 100 pages. 5. Sapiens, Yuval Noah Harari. To reconstruct the future, we must understand our past. Sapiens tells the story of humanity, from evolution to the scientific revolutions. This book makes us reflect on what makes us human and how we got to this point. In an apocalypse, it is key to not making the same mistakes and learning how to reorganize ourselves as a society. It is pure knowledge, accessible and necessary. 6. The Odyssey, Homer. In a new age of uncertainty, the Odyssey represents the eternal human struggle to return home. Odysseus is a symbol of perseverance, intelligence, and endurance. This epic poem conveys universal values: the importance of ingenuity, sacrifice, family. In an apocalypse where all seems lost, this work reminds us that even the most difficult journeys have a return if we do not lose faith. 7. Essay on Blindness, José Saramago. A world where everyone loses their sight, and with it, humanity. Essay on Blindness confronts us with the fragility of civilization and how quickly ethical structures are crumbling. In an apocalyptic scenario, this book acts as a mirror and a warning. What would you do if all social norms disappeared tomorrow? Saramago forces you to look beyond the visible. 8. The Never-Ending Story. Michael Ende imagination is as vital as water or food. The Never-Ending Story celebrates the power of stories, fantasy, and creativity. In an apocalypse where darkness reigns, this book can enlighten souls. especially those of children. It is a call not to forget that to dream is also to survive. Fantasy is freedom, and in the hardest times, we need to fly. 9. Diary of Anne Frank. Anne Frank. Few voices are as necessary as Anne Frank's in the midst of disaster. Her diary teaches us to find hope in the darkest corners. It is the true story of a teenager who lived in hiding, persecuted for who she was, and yet wrote about love, dreams, and freedom. If the apocalypse comes, her testimony will remind us that even in the shadow, there is light. The Brothers Karamazov, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Dostoevsky confronts us with the big questions. Is there good and evil? What is the meaning of life? The Brothers Karamazov is a deep, dense book, but with a brutal philosophical force. In a collapsed world where everything must be redefined, this work can help us think, debate, and not give in to nihilism. It is existential literature at its purest. 11. Walden. Henry David Thoreau. When civilization collapses, returning to nature can be our salvation. In Walden, Thoreau recounts his experience of living in solitude, in harmony with the forest. It is a hymn to self-reliance, simplicity, and free thought. This book can be a practical and spiritual guide in times of forced disconnection with the modern world. 12. Don Quixote de la Mancha, Miguel de Cervantes. If there is one book to rescue from the Spanish language, it is undoubtedly Don Quixote. In the midst of apocalyptic madness, the idealistic madness of Don Quixote reminds us of the value of dreams, nobility, and the fight against injustice. It is a book that mixes humor, philosophy, social criticism, and an immense love of literature. It is the soul of language and cannot be left behind. And you? What book would you rescue if the world were to end tomorrow? Leave it in the comments. I want to know your personal gems. If you liked this video, don't forget to like it, share it with other apocalyptic readers, and of course, subscribe to the channel. See you on the next literary journey. Until then, may reading save your life.